All right, we've got a few early joiners. Thank you, the Victorian team who have joined us nice and early for this session. My name's Toby. I'm from the client success team. If you haven't met me already, I look forward to meeting you along the way. And welcome to another installment of this 30-day challenge where we're looking to slingshot you into be it spring and also summer as well. We've got an exciting webinar today that I think is really going to help, especially due to the stage 4 restrictions and obviously coming out of these restrictions as well. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. You've obviously got the chat bar down the bottom, so let us know where you're from and how you're experiencing lockdown, what you're doing to keep yourself busy, and also how you found ActivePipe during that time as well. We'd love to hear your feedback. We have also got question and answers down the bottom. We'll be fielding them during the webinar, but actually answering them at the end. We'll have more than enough time to sort of run through it and get all that information back to you. But without further ado, we've got a really exciting webinar today that's going to relate specifically back to what we spoke about in our last webinar with Josh Fegan, particularly around diving deeper into your clients' problems, identifying them, and providing them with a really solid solution that's really going to help them, obviously, either in this economic state or also due to, accessibility to properties as well. So I'm sure that you saw in the preview, we've got Peter here from Box Brownie, which is providing a fantastic solution in the photography space and the marketing space. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Peter. How you doing?
Yeah, really good, Toby. Thank you for that introduction. It's brilliant to be part of the 30-day plan, I suppose. So thanks for the invite. For those of you who don't know me, I am with Box Brownie. I am somewhat of the industry evangelist, so I spend most of my time talking to people about their marketing or how to improve that or what they need to do. And I've been invited to come and talk to you guys today, largely because a large portion of what we do at Box Brownie is do it yourself, or it's self-enabled, if you want to call it that. You're able to improve your marketing in some way without actually relying on other subcontractors to get the job done. So there's that side of it. Probably the secondary part of that is the experience that we have globally in actually working with lockdown areas. So, that started out for us in areas like California, which went into lockdown first, portions like New York, which were locked down really hard at the start. And then, amongst the other 50 odd states and territories that we operate in the US in various capacities, some of them were locked down harsher than others. I've got to say, though, I've yet to see a state or a territory lockdown as harsh as Melbourne has been. So I do empathise with you guys. I am living in Queensland, and it's really easy to say, sucked in. We've got open beaches, but for the first 6 weeks, it was kind of a bit of a bad joke. Now it's just gotten out of control. So I do really feel for you guys, and if there's any way that we can assist as a company, please allow us to step in and help you where we can in order to keep your businesses running and your livelihoods afloat. So you have my thoughts there. Unfortunately, that's all I can do other than help you with marketing. So let's dig in. I've got a couple of tools, if you don't mind, Toby. Can I kick straight into it? Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Go for it.
Yeah. So I'm going to run you through some things that we can do that will assist you in either getting a property on the market. So I'm taking these from the premise that you can't get a photographer to site. So if you can get a photographer to site, then use it. The nature of Australian photography is professional photographers are good, but obviously we can do things if you can't get there. And the leading one is actually editing the images in the instance that the owner has to take the photos or you have to take the photos. So whichever way that is, we have an image enhancement product, which is the one that you're looking at the moment. We can take a fairly average photo and we can edit that for $2. It's an edit that comes back overnight. All of the products and things that you will see are no subscription. They're free to use. Oh, well, not free to use. They're pay per use. So you pay as you go. So that's a $2 edit to edit the images. Most of what we do is return it to what the eye actually sees when it gets to the property. It's not as good as professional photography in Australia, this particular edit. This is on the premise that you'll take one photo and you'll upload that to us and we'll send it back to you. But for example, this particular image is one I took with an iPhone 6 a couple of years ago. And we're able to get some pretty good results out of that. So I guess what I'm encouraging you to think is that if you have to get something on the market, this is absolutely a legitimate tool. If I can do this with an iPhone 6, then the quality of the iPhones these days, the iPhone 11 in particular, the Samsung S20 is a brilliant camera. And if you want to see more on how good those cameras are, or you want more details, go to our blog, boxbrownie.com/B. By the way, I'd encourage you, if you've got any questions or you don't agree with anything I'm saying, please chuck it in the chat. I always love to have a chat about that. But this is a $2 edit. So it's not rocket science. You could get your owner, tenant, if you're a property manager, whatever it may be, to take as many of these as you want. You can just really go through and decide which ones you want to use and enhance them for $2. So at the very outset, that tool is available. Yeah, again, no subscription. There's no minimum use. There's no tricks or anything like that. Use the tool if you need it. The other part of this is a little bit more complex, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. We have been issuing this for when an agent can actually get to site. Now, I know at the moment that's not the case, but in the coming weeks, I'm hoping you are actually in this scenario where you can get out and about. So I want to show you this. This is a mind-blowing technique. Most of you will use professional photographers and be aware of the fact that the way they operate is to put a camera on a tripod and take 5 photos at different light resolutions, and in the editing process, they edit that together for a perfect image. Well, if you have an iPhone, I apologize for Android users. If you have an iPhone, this app called Camera Pixels Pro is worth downloading. It's $6 US, so it's about $10 Australian. And you couple that with a tripod and a smartphone mount, and you add these settings. So I'll go over that again. That's been quite quick. But you get the Camera Pixel Pro app, which is this one here. You get this, any kind of tripod, just wherever you can get it from. Hopefully you've already got one. A smartphone mount to actually put your camera in the tripod, and you put the application settings. Now you won't be able to copy these down. Please, I'm going to drop into the chat just the web address that you go to. It's at our blog, which is boxbrownie.com/B, and you want to go to the article on iPhone 11. That's only a couple of weeks old. So what that does is being compared here. This is a high-end Nikon DSLR. The guy has put that on a tripod, and he's taking a photo 1, 2, and 3 brackets. He's taken 3 brackets and he's merged them together to get this kind of image, which is a pretty good, that's pretty good. That's in line with professional photography. Now I want to show you, this is a standard photo from an iPhone 11, which is not bad in its own right. Then I want to show you what the app actually does. So you've put your camera into the smartphone mount, you put it on a tripod, and you've pressed a button. It gives you a 2-second delay, and it will take these images 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's a bracket of 7. You'll upload those to boxbrownie.com in the bracketed section, and we'll merge them together to get that result. Now, the results that we're getting out of this particular app are mind-blowing. Just to compare that with the Canon that we did, obviously the iPhone 11 has a wider angle lens, so it is allowed for, quite an extra, meter or so into the photo. So I would highly encourage you, just as a tool inside and outside of the pandemic, that this is probably a tool that you can carry around with you, whether you use a professional photographer or not. We're not actually saying don't use one. I'm recommending you use a professional photographer. Just be aware that this is an asset that you can use. The other thing I would consider doing are these kind of edits. So if an owner sent you a photo, don't forget we have really cool edits like twilight conversion, where we can take a daytime photo and we convert that to twilight. That's a $5 edit. All of these things that you're seeing at the moment come back to you in 24 hours. There's nothing wrong with this image, but this one gets 4 times more clicks according to the realestate.com.au. I've got Ron asking me, is there a comparable Android version of the app? There is not, Ron. I apologize. We've tried, and we're in the development process of actually putting one together. But if you've ever worked with a tech team, it's how long's a piece of string as to how fast that's coming. I'm trying to hurry it up, Ron, but at the moment, no. If you actually have an Android, I must say the camera quality on an Android is right up there. It's very, very good. There's currently a video trending on the Box Brownie YouTube site where an Android, I think it was an S10, was up against a Nikon D7200 and it beat it. It took it out. So just, you know, bear in mind you've got a pretty good camera there in its own right. So you got a photo of the front of the house, twilight converted. There's something emotional about the second image. I am a great example of this. I will go down the page and I will click on all of those twilight images before I click on the daytime ones. So bear in mind that is there. If you've got someone taking your photos, well, even if you don't, you might have a professional photographer go to site and take this. That's fine. You can still use the edit. It's $5. It comes back to you in a matter of hours. Item removal is hugely important. You've sent your owner out to photograph a site. Oh, by the way, on that, I'm going to drop another address into the chat. If you go to boxbrownie.com/PDF, the first document that you can download is a pre-photography checklist. That's a 5-page checklist that the owner can go through, or the seller can go through, or the tenant can go through. They can get all of the property in order. It's a checklist to follow to make sure it's presentable. But regardless of how well that comes out, you are going to need to remove items. So this item removal is between $5 and $10. It's $10 to take out everything in this image. So you've gone in, they've taken it, it's cluttered. Remove all of that. It's $10 to take it out. It just looks better and takes the focus off the clutter and puts it back on the kitchen. I don't know who eats that many eggs, and I don't want to be caught in the elevator with them, but it's all I can think about when I'm looking at that image. And I don't know what those other things are, whether they're gin bottles or whatever, but remove it. It's $10. It's not hard to take out. Most often we're going to be taking out things like cars from out the front of a house. Please don't ask us to take out power lines and stuff like that. Don't be dodgy. Just, you know, things that are not material to the sale. A tenant's car in a driveway is quite often what we get asked to remove. So that's a $10 edit. Again, that's overnight. That comes back to you. We have a lot of experience at actually walking through owners and tenants are drawing floor plans. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute you put this up on realestate.com.au or your own portal, but this is an example of what a 10-year-old can draw. You can redraw that. That's a $30 edit. It's not rocket science. It's overnight. We even take something as bad as this. Don't worry too much about the measurements. Just try and get things as close to scale as possible. You can put a disclaimer on the bottom of them. We can redraw that for $35 to a 2D textured. And this is kind of where I was at as an agent. I would draw this. And by the way, if you are on lockdown and you're looking for a skill to I guess enhance, practice drawing your own house. Get some graph paper, get a thick Sharpie and a thin biro. We have, again, at that boxbrownie.com/PDF, we have videos and training manuals on how to draw a floor plan, either with or without laser measures. Without a laser measure, you would just step it out and each grid space would be one pace. It's really easy. I drew this in 5 minutes. This is one of my previous listings. I redraw that for $32. And by the way, that's a listing tip. When we go back to normal and things aren't crazy anymore, I would actually redraw a floor plan before I arrived at a listing presentation, or I'd ask the owner to snapshot me a copy of the building floor plan if they had one. I'd turn up and this would be on my listing presentation, so I'd try and win that. We also have things like virtual staging. So if the property is vacant for whatever reason, we can put digital furniture in it. That's $40 per image. You only really need to do 2 or 3 of those. And it's high-res furniture. Probably more for the pandemic period. We're actually taking the furniture out quite often and we're replacing it. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, drop them in the chat. Item removal and staging looks like this. So this is a $50 edit where we would take the furniture out and we would restage it. This one has a murderous rabbit with scissors. Not really sure why, but we've taken that out and we've replaced it because it's all I can think about. So they are the major edits that I have as far as that's concerned. I just want to talk. I'm going to switch presentations for a minute, and if you've got any questions on those, they're I suppose the bones of what we offer at boxbrownie.com that you can use to actually get a product to market now, and especially good in areas like property management in normal circumstances anyway. But I want to run you through some other I suppose, really cool things. We have a 360-degree platform, not dissimilar to something like a Matterport. Seems like everyone's got one these days, but this is our newest listing, and I just want to show you. At the moment, it's very hard to go and get a 360-degree camera and get this operational. But I'll show you what the tool looks like. In normal circumstances, you would get a 360 camera. You would get a monopod, which is that stand that's there, and you would put it in the middle of the room. You'd step out of the room and you'd press snapshot and you'd take it. Oh, I see we put the coupon code in there. Don't miss that in the chat. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Priscilla, I think it was. Anywho, this is what a standard virtual tour with boxbrownie.com looks like. Look, I'm not pushing this above any other virtual tour. If you want to use Matterport, use Matterport. If you want to use any of the others, use them. The thing about this is it's subscription free, so it only costs $20 to put a tour up with 15 images or less. So most houses will sit at the $20 mark. You don't have to pay a subscription. You can just use it whenever you want. But the coolest thing about our virtual tours is not like we've got image quality there because we're obviously editing images. We can do some cool things like put furniture in. That's what you're looking at the moment. We can put the furniture in and take it out. That's all cool for, post-pandemic sort of scenarios where you're actually able to get to the property. The thing I want to show you today is this app here. And this is a real, this is legit a cool tool. So Google Street View, you can download for free to any format. I would encourage you to download it to your phone first if you are wanting to take advantage of it. What it actually does is it allows me to take a series of photos in a sphere around where I am. So I would go into the middle of the room, I would take like 18 photos or something, and it asked me to merge them together. So this is my living room. This is, you can't see, but because I've got a virtual background, but this is right behind me. That handsome bloke up there on the wall, that is me. I want to show you the quality that this delivers at. So I'm going to swirl around this. You'll see it's a less than perfect science. There are some of the roof bearers that don't meet up. There are some frames on the door, on the windows that don't line up. But overall, the image quality that I've delivered from a free app, now I'm going to assume that anyone in a house, a tenant, an owner, a seller has a smartphone. The ability to deliver this kind of quality in a 360-degree image from a free application is mind-blowing. So you can download this app, or you can instruct your owner or your tenant, whoever it may be, to download this to take a series of photos, and it will deliver a 360-degree image just like that. Now, I want to show you, I want to take you to, that's unedited, by the way. We haven't edited that in any way. I want to take you to a tour of that we've created exclusively using this this particular technique of shooting with the Google Street View app. So you should be seeing a moving picture now, I'm hoping. This is the Mandolin Apartments. I only shot this a couple of weeks ago. Now, again, it's glitchy. It's a less than perfect science, but these are unedited. I haven't edited them all. It's warts and all. You can see that doesn't line up. You can see that this doesn't line up here. The one key that we have noticed using this particular thing is to instruct your people to be in the middle of the room. The closer you are to the middle of the room, the less skewed the edges are. But there are some absolutely amazing things, like the quality of the window detail that is coming out of here because of the HDR in my iPhone 11 sensors. So you can absolutely use this. I just got to say, as a massive disclaimer before you do it, after you've taken the images, Google Street View stitches them together in a 360 app. It then asks you, would you like to share this publicly? You want to select no. If you select yes, it's your living room of that person, or the bedroom, even worse, is going to be all over Google. So select no at that particular point. So if you can all write that down, if you're going to use this, after you've stitched it together and it asks you, it prompts you, please share this publicly, select no and save it to your camera roll. Yes, Lynn is asking about the iPhone 10. We shot this on the 11, but the iPhone 10 is also very, very good. We had some mixed results using the Samsung S10, and that was about it. The rest of them were coming through pretty well. So if you have a look at that as a virtual tour, that is kind of unbelievable for a free app that I'm going to assume, everyone has a smartphone. That gives a fairly good tour. Now, obviously, these things are not going to get your clients to make a decision, but it's sure as heck going to qualify them a lot better. So, just bear in mind, these are tools that you can use straight away that will actually get, I guess, a way better idea of what the flow of the property is. And you can go through and click on all of that. That's $20. That doesn't cost anything. I'm not telling you to use the Box Brownie image editing on that. I wouldn't bother. I'd be doing that with a higher grade one. Certainly with this one here, you'll notice I've drawn a floor plan. That's part of that. You would have to do that as well. So this whole tour, if you look at that, that's a $35 edit, that floor plan. So all up, this has cost $55. There are less than 15 hotspots in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hotspots in there. That's a $20 to put that together. So again, I'll just run you by that app. If you didn't get time to get it, it looks like this. It looks like this. The app itself is Google Street View. It is available on any kind of device that is out there at the moment. And my tips to you are stand in the middle of the room, turn the lights on. Like, anything you would do as far as video or taking photos is normally concerned, it's not going to work if you're in the middle of a dark room and haven't, opened your curtains or anything. You still have to get the property presentation right. So on that, I spoke about property presentation earlier. I want to take you to that document that I think is vitally important. If you're going to be directing landlords and owners, actually, I'll take you to two things. If you go to boxbrownie.com/B, there are over 100 documents on this particular website, on our blog, on how to shoot houses, how to shoot messy bedrooms. There are so many things on here that will assist a seller. So go through this. There is that blog, by the way, how to shoot real estate with only an iPhone 11. There are YouTube videos and instructional things attached to it. How to create a virtual house tour, how to draw a floor plan without a laser measurer. These are all things that you can forward to your owners, to your tenants, whoever it may be that is shooting it. It will step them through it. So I'm just going to click on this, how to draw a floor plan without a laser measurer. There's a video for the people who don't like to read, and then it's all in the blog. We even talk about the graph paper. We offer you these little symbol sets or key sets that you can use to add to the floor plan, and we show you one that we do and how often it takes. So look, that is available there. The other place that I've spoken about already is boxbrownie.com/PDF. There are a few things of real importance here. Obviously, our product offering, which is the .au, that has our current price list and delivery timeframes, including the things that I'm not talking about today. There are a bunch of edits that are on there that may be of value to you elsewise. This is our pre-photography checklist. It is the most comprehensive document I have ever seen as an agent. That prepares a house for not only just for the photography, but for inspection. Now, obviously, that inspection can't happen at the moment, but if they follow this pre-photography checklist, it will be ready to shoot whenever is needed. And there's a bunch of other things on there. So if you were to go over this, you can have a look at, there's a floor plan training manual that sits in here as well. That is coupled with the floor plan. It talks about how to go about drawing a floor plan. It even has, and this is super handy because no one's out of their house at the moment. It has 2 different types of grid paper in there, should they wish to go about it, and the key set that I spoke about before. So look, we've been doing this for quite some time. This is not, none of these techniques are new per se. The Google Street View one, for example, I was using in my background as a property manager, where I couldn't actually get out to some of the remote properties. So I was using it for an inspection tool for property management. Now, obviously, there were cases where I'd need to go out and inspect the property as well, but it's a very, very, very useful alternative. So these are all worth holding on to, for those things. Again, there's not many questions in the chat, so I'm assuming that you guys are all good with that. How about I take you to one final thing. Do you have any questions, Toby?
No, I was just going to say, this is amazing. Like, it ties in perfectly with another webinar that we did for Victorian agents around off-market. Like, it's a simple, easy solution to getting off-market photographs without having to, pay for marketing fees or pay for photography fees. As you say, it's a couple of dollars to edit one of these photos. So
yep,
it's incredible what you're putting out there, and it's really providing a solution, as we say, to people's problems.
I appreciate that. Thanks for the feedback. Look, I can't highlight enough the need for you as an agent. Maybe you are a principal. I don't know your current scenario, but I can't highlight the need enough for an agency to have their own 360-degree camera. And that's not to create a 360 tour. There's Matterport operators you can use to do that. There's a couple of things that these kind of cameras do, and let me give you the example of what they're doing in California and New York at the moment. They're actually overnighting them out to the owners. The owners are then learning how to use the device, shooting a property and sending it back. So there is that option. But the other thing I want to show you sits outside what you've already seen. I'll just speed through this. By the way, we edit 360-degree images. I haven't mentioned it, but in the same way we edit digital 2D images, we can either enhance the image, as you will see here, where this is a very old 360 camera. We can also do staging and you would have seen that in the tour. We can do that as well. And finally, we can take all of the tenant's junk out of, it's fairly expensive to do that. My encouragement to you at the moment would just be to get a virtual tour. So this is a $40 edit to remove all of that. This is the other cool thing that you can do with a 360 camera that's not to be understated. So this is my mate, Garrick Yan. He heads actually a division of real estate agents in the US called the Asian Real Estate Association of America, ARIA. And he's taking us through speaking Mandarin to his Mandarin buyers. He's been doing this for the last 5 years with a 360-degree camera. This is me on YouTube swirling around. So this is not anything that we do. This is just free. If you've got a 360-degree camera, you can put it on the end of a selfie stick. You can walk out. This is a burnt out house in San Francisco. He's after a buyer to pick it up and then renovate it and then rent it out. So he's walking us through the house and talking. And whilst he does that, I have the ability to move around that 360 like it's instantly a virtual tour that's there. So, I would be encouraging you right now, if you don't currently own a 360-degree camera, to go out and look at some. If you want, the model that we recommend all of the time is the Ricoh Theta V. It's about a $600 model. If you want a slightly better, probably one of the better ones in the world right now is the Ricoh Z1. The Z1 sits between 1,000 and 1,500 depending on stocks at the moment. And it is genuinely a very, very good camera. If I take you back I'll just take you back out of here to the tour that we did for this particular property. You will see instantly the kind of quality that the Ricoh Z1 is able to do. And I'll just point out one thing that kind of makes it a point of difference and why we recommend those cameras. Assuming that everything is going to plan and we come out of this lockdown fairly soon. Can you see that screen now? I'm assuming you can see the tour. Is that right, Toby? Or yep. Yep, gold. This is the same one that you saw before. I just want to point out why the Ricoh Z1 and the Theta V are so important. You'll see as we scroll through to here, we end up going inside. It won't take too long to get inside. The number one thing that I want to point out is that inside this premises, I can see outside all of the windows quite clearly. If you've ever used a Matterport tour, you'll get a white haze over the exterior window detail. We can achieve the highest image qualities of a 360 in the world by being able to bracket using the Ricoh Theta V and the Z1. This one's been taken by the Theta V, but when you are actually demonstrating what the view is outside, it's really important to have a camera that actually allows you to do that. And this one does. Like, you can see the clarity in the window detail there. It's amazing, and you're actually selling a view in this property. So that's probably the last thing.
Someone might be able to confirm this in the chat, but it wasn't loading for me. I've just got the two screens. One of the
okay, I shared the wrong screen. Yep, let me go again. Thank you for the heads up. Feel free to just tell me to shut up if that's happening. Can you see the one screen now?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I'll just fast forward it. So when we get to the inside, sorry, probably making everyone sick, and it's approaching lunchtime. You can see quite clearly outside the windows. That's the key. Those two cameras allow you to do that by bracketing. And that, again, that's exactly the same on the 2D. That's taking multiple shots of an interior picture and merging them together. Now, you'll see in this next globe when I go there, as soon as I click on this hotspot here, you can see absolutely clearly what is going on outside the window. And that so important, so vitally important to actually demonstrating high-end properties. So bear in mind, those two cameras allow you to do that if that's something that you want to use. Yeah, look, that's all I've got for you as far as today is concerned. One thing I'd extend to you is that regardless of your scenario, if you've got questions about any of this today and you don't want to ask, or you think of them later, my email address is peter@boxbrownie.com. Feel free to send me an email if you need particular training. If there's anything that we can do that's going to assist you in moving forward as far as marketing is concerned in the scenario that you're in, I'm more than happy to extend that to you. The credit that's there is $40 credit, so that's the reimagined code. Now, it's pretty hard to enter that for the first time. You go to the dashboard and there's a coupon code that pops in there. So if you have dramas with that, there's 24/7 customer service in chat, and there's also a 24/7 phone number. Make it to, take advantage of all of those and ask as many questions as you need. Does anyone have any questions before I'm in? Toby, do you have any?
No, I think that's amazing what you're doing for everyone with that credit. We're obviously grateful for that during this certain time as well, and the amount of free resources that you're offering. Like, you're obviously an ex-agent, I'm an ex-agent. How many times have you had to deal with a vendor where you've had to advise them of how to stage the property before you bring the photographer around or before you take photos, and it's all over the place and you have to rearrange it for them. So having that checklist is phenomenal. Having that item removal, especially when people are taking their own photos as well, don't know how to stage it. I think that's incredible. And as I said, and you said, the use cases for this is incredible. Off market, either for property management when it's tenanted as well, even for when you're going, on market, but they don't have the budget. You're dealing with a couple of dollars to edit these photos, which is absolutely incredible. You said that you've done both Australia and the US. What's sort of been the feedback between the US and Australia?
So far as what the product is concerned, or so far as the lockdowns are concerned?
Bit of both.
Well, in America, they use a lower standard of photography. I know that sounds bizarre. The professional photography that Australians use is world class. We sit probably in rank just under Scandinavia. Scandinavians use a different next level photography. They have about 17 different ways that they actually edit an image to achieve a certain goal. So they will call it cool blue or vivid white. It sounds like you're choosing globes at, like globes at Bunnings, the way that they go about their editing. So, Scandinavia has excellent marketing, Australia, New Zealand also. Probably the biggest difference in the American market is they are not vendor paid. So a lot of the advertising done here in Australia is vendor paid marketing. Nearly none of it in the US is vendor paid. The agent will pay for that themselves. And what that's forced them to do is they do a lot more testing and measuring on what is actually working. And added to that, you have a dominant portal here in Australia, being in the REA group. In the US, there are something like 400, and to 1,000 different portals that you can list your listing on. So they have like the smorgasbord approach where they can select any of the different options that are there, and they're probably more aggressive in the way that they go about chasing their leads, and that their purchases are a little bit more receptive to that than what I've noticed here in Australia. I see there's a question from Peter asking what country does the image fixing happen in. We don't own a sweatshop, Peter. You'll be happy to hear. There's no central location. One of the geniuses of Box Brownie and the ability for us to operate in this pandemic period is that none of our editors are geographically centric. That's a broad way of saying they're in 110 different countries. And in fact, some of our image editors are Australian and American and English. I think there is a dominant thought that because of the price being only $2, that only third world countries will be doing it. The differences that we've found between first world and third world editors simply lies in their hardware. So where Australian editors will have processes in place and it might take them 5 minutes to edit an image, it may take someone 30 minutes in the Philippines or Thailand to go about editing it, because they're still on a Windows 98 computer and the rendering power is that slow. So yeah, I can't answer that question. Depending on where you submit, the image will be edited there. And then there are a bunch of different products. So we found that some products are edited more in some countries because of the skill level, and less in others. But yeah, coming back to your question, the lockdowns were very similar, Toby. The Melbourne lockdown is one of the harshest I've seen, and I've seen quite a few areas. Obviously, I haven't experienced it. Although I was on the second last plane out of America. I spend nearly 300 days a year there as the industry outreach. Happy to be home, happy to be chatting to you guys about what we offer. But yeah, bear in mind, if you're after global advice on directions of property marketing, we also see that there is definitely a massive trend worldwide into immersive marketing. Immersive just being a funny word for saying 360-degree or virtual tours. And we've got high adoption rates here. I'm not sure the quality of virtual tour is where we would like to see it. I would like to see the quality of virtual tour at a similar level to where our photography is. Our levels of photography are really, really crisp, really clean, definitely presenting the property in its best light. From my experiences, we seem to be happy to accept, excuse me, second rate or just underneath that for our virtual tours, which is a bit of an oxymoron.
I see a real opportunity for virtual tours. We deal with clients nationally and internationally as well. And one thing that I've been hearing a lot lately is that there's a lot of people buying sight unseen, just because they may be making lifestyle choices now because of the pandemic. They're now able to work from home. They're now broadening their horizons over where they actually buy and live, be it, wanting to get out of Victoria or wanting to buy down the peninsula, then nice holiday home that they might be buying sooner because they're not going on holidays. So there seems to be a real need for that. And I think the adoption rate will climb in Australia as it progresses.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, there's a story in our local rag here about Victorians buying on the Sunshine Coast sight unseen. Obviously, Melbourneites can't get out, and that's the way they're choosing to place an offer. They've decided that they can work from home somewhere else, and they've decided that the Sunshine Coast is the place that they want to live. I'm not saying you should all do that, but you're always welcome to come and have a beer with us or live here if you so desire. But that's a great example of how that's been used. And probably the other thing I'd say, Toby, is the take-up rate of virtual tours in property management. I would seriously be considering that. I've seen property management companies who are operating with a fleet of scooters and 18 to 25-year-old subcontractors on those scooters who are going to do property inspections, taking with them that Ricoh Theta V and a monopod. And they're just taking 360s of every room. And the trained property managers actually sit now in front of screens, and they will decide whether notice needs to be issued, whether they're happy to, whether they're happy to accept the property as it sits. Just based on the fact that they've sent these people out there, and the scooters are the key to that because they get in and around the traffic. So you don't spend hours sitting, waiting to go 2 suburbs over. The scooter is there in 15 to 20 minutes. So Think outside the box. Don't just think of marketing as what I'm going to put on the REA group or on my own website. Try and think of marketing as a solution to a problem, or a way to remove an objection. We have one particular product, and I don't want to soak up all your time. So again, tell me to shut up and go away when you need to. But we have one particular product that fits that, which I haven't spoken about today. But this product here is called Virtual Renovation. And this is specifically designed to remove an objection. So you've got people coming into the property and they're saying, yes, I understand that it's 400,000 or 500, whatever it is, but I don't want the hassle of having to renovate it. I would show them this and give them a maintenance contractor's quote on what it costs to get them from there to there. And you effectively remove that objection. So, what I encourage people to do is to stop thinking about the fact that you're marketing your house. Use marketing as a tool to remove objections where necessary, but start thinking about the fact that you've listed a product. There is defined target audiences for that product, and what are the mediums that you're going to use to get it there. I think that is a forgotten art in the world of real estate agent, and it's certainly the way we encourage people to consider marketing these days. So yeah, if I could offer you one piece of advice that would move you forward, start thinking about the properties that you're listing, the destined target audiences, there may be many of them, and what particular platforms you're going to use to get them there. But in general, most of the people on this call, being Australians, being from Melbourne, you will have a high level of marketing prowess. You will have some pretty slick, I guess, back end or office things in place to make sure that you're not actually outputting any rubbish to the market. So congratulations on that. You're in a great area of the world for that. I see Lynn has said she's got her first virtual live inspection tomorrow. Lynn, good luck with that. It's definitely a new experience.
But we're becoming so much more resourceful in this pandemic. So it's interesting to see how people are thinking outside the box. And yeah, again, we appreciate you providing so many solutions, so many resources as well, that I think everyone can really take some value from. One last question from me: where does Box Brownie come from?
Oh, yeah, right. So this is a Brownie camera. Oh, it's phasing in and out. Where there? No.
All right.
This is a Brownie camera. Let me turn my virtual background off. The Brownie camera was out about 1901. They came out, and some of your agents, if they're brave enough to say it, will remember this camera. It's shaped like a box. This is a 1945 model. We have a bunch of other ones. It's a little bit banged up. I take this one on the road with me. It's probably sentimentally my favorite. But the Brownie camera, came out really early on. It was about £3, which was about $3,000 back in those days. And mums and dads can own one. And this thing, the Box Brownie, as they were colloquially known, it had a slogan attached to it: "You take the photo, we do the rest," which is very befitting of our company. That's pretty much how we found our business: is you take the photo and we'll do the rest. We'll edit it. So we all were massive fans of the Box Brownie, and that's the name we ended up with. We do get confused calls from people who have ordered brownies, asking where they are. I can't help you with that. And we've had suggestions that we should be selling hash brownies to relax the transaction process. We also haven't done that. But there's a good business model for some of you down there if you're thinking and you've got a bit of spare time.
Very interesting angle. Well, if no one has any more questions, then we might close it out. But Peter, thank you so much for your time. I'm sure that everyone's really excited to jump onto the website, see the resources, get using those photos, so that we can provide a solution to people in need right now. I'm sure that not only our clients would like the work on their property photos, but also on their Instagrams as well. So, I think that's another angle for you as well.
Excellent.
But anything that you'd like to close with, or any final suggestions for Victorian clients?
No, just remember, if you need assistance or you think of something outside of this, it's just peter@boxbrownie.com, which is pretty easy to remember. But importantly, stay safe. I know everyone's saying that, it's really cliche. I really hope you guys get out of it soon. Come and have a holiday in Queensland. I'll shout you a beer. It'll be tax deductible because you'll be coming up to visit a supplier. So I'd love to see you out and about soon. Let me know your success stories. I'd love to hear from you. But thanks for joining today.
I think you'll
Thanks
have
for
an
having me.
influx around Christmas. But yeah, thank you for your time. We will obviously be circulating a video recording of this. So I know that you put in some codes here as well. But if you ever want to pause it and see what was in those slides, yeah, please feel free to watch it. And we will circulate your email as well in that email as well. So it's easier for the people to connect. But again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your time as well to our clients in Victoria. Again, we empathize with you. I'm currently locked down, have been so since March. So let's hope that we can come out of this stronger. Yeah, look forward to hearing all your success stories coming out of this lockdown as well. So
Cheers.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Toby. Thanks, Active Pipe. Greatly
Perfect.
appreciated. You guys enjoy your day.
All right. See you guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.